You're tuning in to Stellar Cycles, hosted by Alina
and Eva Brown. Join us weekly as we delve into the science, spirituality, and cultural significance of our feminine cycles.
Get ready to align with your natural rhythms, take charge of your patterns, and embrace a holistic approach to feminine wellness. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stellar Cycles, a podcast where we talk about menstrual wellness, hormonal well-being, and cycle syncing, and a lot of other things that we're going to get into.
We're happy to have you guys on episode 6. Today we're discussing sisterhood, something Alina and I bonded over.
And what better day to be talking about sisterhood than March 8th, which is Women's Day. We know this episode is going to come out a little later, but we just want to do a huge shout out to all the women who honestly run this world, and we love you all, and we hope that you had a great day and you felt loved and appreciated.
From us to you.
Yeah, so today our episode is about the value of creating and maintaining sisterhood. The goal here is to encourage all of us to dive deeper into our relationships and form a sisterhood with our chosen tribe. A sisterly bond is how we can feel safe, vulnerable, grow, heal. Without deep bonds and trust, we aren't able to truly tap into our greatest calling.
This is one of my favorite topics, building sisterhood, and I like talking about the nervous system.
Yeah.
But before we get into our topic for today, we'll kick us off with some current updates.
Yeah, Eva, What do you have going on lately?
Well, first, I'm in my ovulatory phase, so I'm feeling very confident and bubbly. I think it served me very well over my birthday, which was
Her birthday was yesterday.
And on a full moon, too. I'm so happy. I soaked in a Dead Sea salt bath, which is actually 20 times more healing for you than a regular salt bath. So I highly recommend. Lit some candles, meditated, and really I just wrote how grateful I am and proud of myself I am for getting to where I've gotten to and just becoming a more compassionate, graceful, and loving woman. And this kind of sounds like every other day for me, to be honest.
Yeah, but a little extra on your birthday, right?
Yes, I'm still feeling all that love. And then by the time this episode airs, you guys have already been introduced to one of my dear friends and our first guest speaker. She was in town, and the last updates I want to leave you guys with is her and I went to a spa, and we did this package where you lay on an elevated bathtub and they wash you down, they rub your body with salt scrubs, give you a full rinse, and now my new goal has been unlocked to take all of my showers there.
Where is the spa?
My body. It's in Hillcrest.
Okay.
I think I'll take you there.
Nice. I need an experience like that.
And you get a nice massage. It's like a 2.5 hour thing. Yes, I felt rejuvenated. Business is booming, specifically with Stellar Cycles. I'm really happy to announce that we hired on Jasmine.
Jasmine's a game changer.
She is. Ugh, she's just so high performing, such a sweet soul, a pure child of God. I love how she came here to build a church, and I love that aligned with us. She actually used to work with me 7 years ago in one of my old businesses. So to have her work with us now and the mindset she has, I'm really excited. I think she's going to help Stellar Cycles take off to another planet.
Yes, Jasmine, thank you so much. We love having you.
So what about you?
I'm careening towards the end of my luteal phase. So that's just before my period. I'm kind of feeling that hunker down vibe, slowing things down, kind of keeping to myself. All I care about right now is crossing off the to-dos that haven't been finished for this cycle yet. Oh, yesterday was my first time going to Universal Studios. That's been really fun, but at the same time, I haven't really been able to do the last 2 lunations properly. So this last Virgo full moon and then the previous Pisces new moon, I just wasn't able to do any of my stuff for that because I was either in Spokane visiting family or this time, Universal. But, sometimes you got to skip it and just pick up right where you left off.
Yes, ebbs and flows.
Yeah. And then I started looking into continuing my education. I'm thinking I might want to research how I can become more credentialed in like the world of hormones and like natural well-being. So looking into that.
I'm so excited. You're the best student too.
I love learning.
You'll consult. I'll consult as well. Business, feminine energy. You'll take on the health. We'll do hormonal testing even. Oh, so many exciting things.
All right, Eva, let's dive into the episode.
Yeah, it is time. So when we're thinking about sisterhood, this is a topic that's really near and dear to both Alina and I, because honestly, I don't think I would have gotten as far in my life if it wasn't for the bonds that I've built with my friends, guys and girls, but really my girlfriends. At the end of the day, they're the ones that you have sleepovers with, and they're the ones that have related with me and that I can ask advice from. Even when I go to my therapist, I only like to work with a woman just because she can understand where I'm going, where I'm coming from a lot more. And I think the thing we really want to talk about is how is sisterhood go beyond friendship?
Let's just talk about how female friendship differs from male friendship, right? Like usually I think that guys, they can have a really big network of friends. I'm not saying all men, not all men, but from what I've observed, guys don't really like dive that deep into their friendships. They're not having these like self-improvement talks. They're not having the heart to hearts. And that's like really what makes things emotionally difficult for men, is because they don't talk to each other about things. Their friendship is more built on fun and good times. They can literally just communicate in grunts and yeah, everything's good. If there's beef, they'll fight it out. That's it. Women's friendships are so much more complex and deep and intertwined. Like we really become such a huge part of each other's life. And I think part of the reason that women have struggled in friendship and connecting with other women is due to the fact that when you get into a workplace, you kind of are surrounded by women you didn't necessarily choose to be around. But then that kind of has to become your family. You know, so many people feel like they have to be friends with everyone that they work with. But that also breeds ground for tension, competition, drama, all these toxic feminine traits that hinder growth of true relationships.
The core of this too is they didn't choose their tribe.
Exactly.
And that's why we talk so much about being in full alignment with who you are, what's your purpose in this world, what are you trying to share with people. And if you do align yourself with that, typically your tribe will be very relatable to you and you won't have competition. You want to see your girls grow. But until then, how do you build that, right? And this is what we're going to discuss today on this podcast, is how to create this for yourself, how to recognize when you have sisterhood within your life. And for me, when I look at the definition of sisterhood, I would describe this as a deep understanding that you're deeply worthy and that we are all queens and connected to one another. We truly are all one. We're created uniquely in God's image, and we all stem from God's energy.
Exactly. That was so beautifully put. I see you have a quote here in our notes, so I'm going to read it. It says, "A sisterhood is a social, ethical, and emotional pact between women. It's based on an understanding that together we are stronger than we are as individuals." I think that whatever it is that society feeds us and what we're consuming all day long just pits women against each other. And like, I think that a society's health can be determined by the health of its average women. And we're just, number one, we're not healthy. And number two, we're not connected with each other.
Oh, chills. And if we have that connection, you know that you and I hold each other accountable all day long to our goals, our desires, even when it's easy just to be your friend and let you go with the flow. But if I know your goals and your heart, it's important for me to be your sister and say, hey, I know that's not aligned with where you're trying to go, or not offering you things that I know aren't aligned with what you want. I don't even bother asking you because I know your heart.
Right.
And we don't compete and we don't ever feel like we're in opposition against each other, which honestly in today's society, opposing our sisters, it really keeps us low in frequency because all ships rise with the tide. So bringing our sisters and elevating them up so we can get further together.
It gets everyone up. It's not just like one person wins at the cost of or at the expense of others. And yeah, sisterhood is just so important because it just helps us align with how we were created for connection, created for community, created to help one another. The way that the woman was created in the Bible, being taken from the rib of a man, being given to the man, was that you're the helper, you know, but we're also here to help each other because what is this world if all of the women are pitted against each other?
And we have that nurturing capacity in general. It's ingrained in us. I always like to refer back to this book that I read, Sapiens, and it talks about how we grew and developed as a society evolved to speaking and communicating like this. And you think back to hunters versus gatherers. As a women, we're the gatherers. We're bred to connect and to talk to one another. And typically we would do this as we're working with each other in the village, gathering berries on a mission to reach a common goal for the health of our village.
Right.
That's literally ingrained in our DNA. This is why we can tend to become depressed if we're disconnected from our friends and a sisterhood of belonging.
Exactly. And, I think that's so interesting too, the way that communication developed, because women are just known as the more communicative creatures, right? But why is that? It's because we spent a lot of time together in the community and the tribe while the men were off hunting or fighting. And communication was really a way of survival, because you had to be able to tell women, like, okay, this is how you preserve this thing. This is where you find these berries, it was through sharing that they were able to survive. Nobody was gatekeeping, keeping things just to themselves. Like, oh no, I'm not going to tell you where I got that, girl.
Because losing one life is detrimental to the village. How can you make your village become the best and the most powerful, right?
Exactly. And men, they didn't evolve to be as communicative. My belief is because they were out in the field. And when you're out in the field, maybe you strategize in your group, but then when you're out on the action, whether that's hunting, whether you're in battle, you're not really making noise.
I think men are a lot more perceptive with non-verbal communication because they pick up energy really well. You always hear guys are like, oh, I'm matching your energy, da da da. And sometimes women, we don't even know where our energy is at because we communicate verbally. In the same topic, there is a quote that I took from this blog I was reading, Exploring Your Mind blog. In the past, women shared a lot more than we do now. We lived as a firm collective focused on helping each other and nourishing each other, both emotionally and psychologically. Older generations gave wise advice to the younger ones. The jobs of raising children, harvesting, and gathering were shared, as well as natural medicine. Maybe we all are just a bunch of witches. Maybe we are artisans of nature and ancient wisdom gathering in the infamous red tent, quote unquote, during menstruation, sharing stories, synchronizing our cycles, and planting seeds of affection into the soil of our souls to become together more valuable every day.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that is true because, women did have to spend time together when they were on the menstrual phase of their cycle, and that was such a good time to not have any outside distractions, whether it was children, husbands, home life. That must have been amazing
Great time
to just
reset.
hang out with the girls,
And that's where you get stronger. It continues to say stronger mothers, stronger daughters, stronger sisters, just being in your authentic self, which you only have when you're put in that environment where you have to be like real with yourself. Like there's no hiding. When you're in a family, you've experienced it with your siblings. You guys know everything about each other and you know how to support each other during all of your phases.
Exactly. The fact that it's got to be your chosen tribe of sisters is so important too, because it has to be people that you're okay with taking sometimes uncomfortable feedback from or being corrected, because at the end of the day, people who love us will correct us, and that doesn't always feel good, but it's super necessary. And this kind of launches us into the next thing, is if we can implement this sisterhood in our lives, what can it give us? How can we benefit? What are the things that we have to look forward to with the sisterhood?
For me, I'd say real community, it creating the accountability. So you and I, a lot of times, I love that we're able to work through our problems, differences very quickly because we are grounded in the fact that we love each other 100%. We both know and trust that each other wants the best for one another. And we're both committed to our mutual greatness, reaching our highest self possible. So when we communicate, we can have an issue with each other, voice it with love and acceptance, and come to a mutual agreement that makes us stronger. Now our communication is better. We're more defined in the workplace now just because of overcoming these uncomfortable conversations, which you see a lot of people try to avoid.
The more that you see yourself resolving conflicts successfully, the more your self-confidence grows, I think, too.
True.
And I think that the reason that we are able to have this type of relationship and sort this out in the way that we do is because we are very in tune to each other's energy. How did we get there? By spending a lot of time with each other.
Yeah.
You can't be in tune with someone's energy if you don't know them. Everything that they're going to do, you're going to question. It's going to seem weird to you. But if you truly like get to know a person and accept them for who they are, and then maybe if they do something you don't like or appreciate, then you know how to approach it because you know the person. Like there can't be correction without connection.
Exactly. And I love Jay Shetty. He talks about in his books that we're both reading, it takes 40 hours to become a friend and 100 hours to become a great friend.
Like 200 to become a close friend, something like that.
And if you think about how many hours it takes just to get to that level, you understand how much work actually goes into creating something beautiful like a sisterhood type bond. What are some other things that you feel like you receive from building a sisterhood?
So along with the community, you know, it comes with that sense of belonging that if you are feeling out of place or are going through a rough time, you know that there's people that are going to be there for you and vice versa because you'll be there for them. You know, it's such a two-way street. And like you said, all ships rise with the tide, right? It just enables people to achieve more and get further together because teamwork makes the dream work, right? When we started bringing in more help and giving away more tasks with this podcast, with this business to other people, at first the ego in me was like, no, but I don't know if like they'll do it right or whatever. But number one, it's taken off such a load. Number two, these people are very talented in their areas that we've given them these tasks in. And it's really exciting to see someone blossom and grow and like what they like to do. So guess what? That's a win-win situation. Easier for us, more fun for them. They get to do what they want.
And God wants us to be connected and to always extend work and give other people a chance to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Exactly. All part of the same body. Just, you know, utilizing where your sisters have their unique strengths.
I have a great one.
Yeah, go for it.
I always mention how you're so great with visuals and design with anything, but especially in graphics. And you just have such a great taste. That for me, in order to have the taste that you have, I would have to dedicate 10,000 hours to really perfecting that craft. You know about different design sites and so many elements that's just not my lane. So when we even started this podcast, we very much knew that would be your lane. And I always make sure that you have final say on all things visual. My lane, business, communication, networking, numbers, revenue, a lot of the back end stuff. And that's what I love to do.
You've had 12 years of experience in that, you know? So we got to bring that in. We got to use that.
And now we bring in Jasmine, who has great experience in social media. It's something that is just not my lane. And look, she's thriving.
Exactly. I think a really good toxic example of female friendships is when a girl or a group of girls will only allow girls into that circle that are exactly like them, have all the same kind of things. But then again, that breeds so much competition and drama and toxicity because y'all are all trying to go after the same thing. And it feels like there's not enough to go around for everyone. But find people that you see something in them that you know that you don't necessarily have in yourself, but that you can appreciate, that you can see something coming out of that. I think that's a really good way to start thinking about other people. You know, they're valuable too, and their skills and their talents.
Like build up your team, right? And I love that we're sharing with people how we're building our team, because I would love just to inspire you guys to do the same thing in your life, whether if it's a passion project that you're starting, how can you get other sisters involved in what you're doing? Find people that are also passionate about the same things, and maybe they want to be in the bus, but in a different seat, and they want to help take you in this direction. You can go so far.
And helping you is going to help them get experience for whatever it is that they're, you know, trying to do more on a larger scale. You know, and again, to wrap up the benefits of sisterhood, I think at the end of it all, it just gives us that safety and protection that all women crave biologically. And it reminds us that we don't have to be all or do it all.
Yes.
Right? We don't have to feed into that mentality that you as a woman, you can do it all. You have to do it all on your own. It's bad to ask for help. I think that's created such a toxic, I got to stop saying toxic. It's created an unhealthy
I mean, we call it how we
mindset.
see it. Yeah. Unhealthy though. It's and even touching on that more, it's not even on my outline, but I think we should talk more about this of like us as women, sometimes we need to be reminded about how powerful we are. And of course, no one's going to do that better than your girlfriends. And we're going to do it right now too on this podcast. It's just give you guys that pep talk of, you guys are so powerful. Your literal body, your womb is a portal to create life, and your body can sustain that life. And I think why Alina and I wanted to have a podcast on sisterhood is because we guys want you to plug into this way of being that can help you guys have the confidence to get through the obstacles in life and face them together. Mm-hmm. And by feeling safe and supported by your fellow sisters, that helps regulate your guys' nervous system in an unbelievable way. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't doing this, I'm telling you, even though you feel fine, even though you feel like you're not stressed, your body is undergoing stress.
And like, it's recording everything.
Yes. Like, we need hugs. We need like the girl chats, the like playing with each other's hair, telling each other how great we look. And it's something our male counterparts, as amazing as they are, and as they can build and provide us safety, the emotional safety is something that they are not able to give to us in the depth that our sisters can.
Absolutely. And I think you can really have yourself in a rut expecting all of that depth out of a man where, to add that on top of everything that he's already doing, so that's why it's important to have different people in your life that play different roles, that fill you in different ways. I know there's certain things that my husband just doesn't appreciate me talking about. Like, it just doesn't interest him. But I know that if I were to talk to you about it, you would light up. We would have a conversation for 2 hours about it. So knowing that, I know who I'm going to take that conversation to, and I know how I'm going to feel at the end of it.
Yes. You know how to work your life. And that's what Alina and I are always talking about on this podcast, is how to work your life that can maximize your results. Minimize your output, maximize what you're receiving back. And a lot of times there are little shifts, but it saves you so much energy in the long run. Because could you imagine talking to Sam about something that he's not into? He's going to kind of be bored. The energy, you release all this energy
that I'm looking for,
and you feel drained.
Yeah, but anything else that's more of like his speed or more of a man's speed, or if he comes back and he wants to talk about something, then you connect in that way.
And there's many things that he now talks to you about because you got him turned on to it years ago, and slowly he's turning his ear to the conversation. And I love seeing that.
Yeah.
You guys are always growing.
Yeah.
Now, what would a sister never do? We know what we want, what sisterhood is, how that should feel. Mm-hmm. How should that not feel?
Going back to think about any friend that you've had in your life that it was almost like a trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you became friends over something that maybe wasn't very healthy, and you just kind of feed into each other's misery, and that's kind of what bonds you. I've had friends in my life that weren't necessarily chosen. I just kind of was put into an environment with them. So I was like, okay, these are going to be my friends. But things didn't always go well. And there was always an undertone of mistrust and competition. And so I think that's one thing, is that you want to be able to trust the people that you're with. Someone in your sisterhood isn't ever going to make you feel bad in a public setting. Or make you feel bad, period. People who know you know what makes you feel bad. And if they're doing that on purpose, not a sister.
Yes. And of course, in all friendships, we all sometimes do things that upset someone. That's always normal.
Yeah. And it's how willing you're able
they come back. Yes.
Take that
someone
feedback.
Will share. And you'll say, hey, you hurt my feelings. Oh my God, I'm shocked. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it that way. Mm-hmm. And then from there, then you observe. Normally, if you're with a healthy person, it'll typically never happen again. Mm-hmm. And if it does, you can just start observing how that person is receiving your boundaries.
Are they adjusting their behavior to respect your boundaries? Again, it's all about respecting boundaries. It's not about forcing people to do what you want to do all the time, but it's about, do they respect how you feel? It's such a baseline requirement. What else, Eva?
Revealing unsavory information or anything that would hurt you to anyone. I think as women, we all need to have a sense of privacy, not only about our lives, but other people's, especially, and respect to other people, whether if we like someone or do not like them. As a woman who wants the world for women to be stronger and brighter, I don't condone any of us ever speaking ill of someone else. Or talking bad about someone in front of others, especially if it's like a guy they're dating or their friends, boss, anyone. And it's something I sadly see happen a lot. And I think in order for us to avoid these things, the best thing we can do as ladies is walk away from that type of energy. And eventually, no one will speak poorly
Yeah, or
anymore.
just switch the topic. I think that's a good way to get people to get the hint. I think just in looking at my life and the relationships with women I've had, I think some women, they don't mean poorly, but they just feel that gossiping is a way for them to connect. That's their like connection point, to talk about other people and, discuss what's going on in their lives.
Good
But I think
point.
we can really change that by discussing more of what's going on in our lives and what we're dreaming of, how we can be there for each other, how we can build each other's
Yes.
businesses. Just kind of
Redirecting.
redirecting, because it all comes back to putting yourself in someone else's shoes. If you're talking with someone and they're rattling off information to you that you know isn't theirs to share, it's going to make you feel differently about them and how safe you can be with them, what you can share with them, right?
Yeah. And then another one is your sister is never going to hold on to how she truly feels. She might maybe be triggered in the moment or feel some type of way because a boundary was flouted, and she might take a day or two to process and to share it with you in a safe way. But she's always going to bring it to you and make sure that she's not building up any resentment in the household, quote unquote. Because again, this is a sisterhood. So your sisters will always be very honest and vulnerable, even if sometimes it makes them feel stupid. Because we've all been there. I get mad at anyone that I care about for sometimes dumb things. But I still am vulnerable enough to share it. And I'm like, hey, I know this makes me sound a little silly or a little this, but I know that it's a safe place. They're going to accept me for it. And we're going to feel better and grow from it.
I don't know what kind of amazing person you have to be to have grown out of like self-defense to be like your automatic, thing when you're being critiqued or someone's sharing some unsavory feedback. But I know that's kind of always my default, is to kind of absolve myself and be like, no, but I didn't. But it's always a practice and an exercise to hear someone out, 'cause sometimes that might even solve half of the problem, is just letting them tell you how they feel.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the last thing that a sister would never do.
Build walls or obstacles or try to trip you up in anything that you're doing. I think that, just women who truly love the women in their tribe, their sisters, they're not going to do anything to break you down or to get in the way of your success in any sort of manner.
Now, if you guys do have anyone in your life that has done any of these things, especially if it's repetitive, what we're telling you could probably do today or at some point this week is just reach out to them, let them know that you're focusing on building better relationships with your girlfriends, that you really want her to be like a sister to you. You're looking to head in X, Y, and Z direction. And what can help you with this is by limiting any sort of gossip, negative emotions. You would really like to see their support if you falter in any of X, Y, and Z characteristics you're trying to build, that you'd appreciate your sister to come to you and let you know, hey, I noticed that you're not being true to your honor, your decisions. And that's a great way to invite people in to elevate with you. We're not just dropping people, we're inviting people to come with us on this
journey.
path. Yes.
Yeah. I think a really important part of that too is to ask yourself, if you're having an issue with a girl in your life or a woman, ask yourself, are they really trying to hurt me? Is that the problem here? Are they doing something bad, immoral, against the rules? Or am I just seeing something in them that might be making me a little jealous because maybe I feel that I should deserve that too, but I can't get myself there? I think the best way to deal with or combat jealousy is just to go to the person and ask them how they did it.
intentions are everything. What were your intentions behind this? And typically that clears up the entire, because we're all just living in our own life with our own perceived, we're basically like our perceived, like
projection.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we're projecting our previous life or any of our past experiences on the present and the future moment. So sometimes we just need to clear that up and move along.
Totally.
So do we want to move into how to implement this into their life today?
Yeah. I would start off by making a list of the people in your life who you feel truly support you. I definitely did this after my wedding because I feel like big life events like weddings, funerals, baby showers, graduations, just things like that really show you who congregates around you in that moment and who's really there for you and who's really happy for you. And when I got back from the wedding, I felt really impressed to make a list of the people who I feel truly supported by. And it felt really, really great to look at that list because you see names on there that you would never really think of. But there are people that are rooting for you and that want to see you win and succeed. And so yeah, make that list of the women that support you, that you feel loved by, that you love being around, that you love spending time with, that you love building up. Just kind of keep that list in your mind and start thinking of ways that you can deepen those relationships and extend more to them, water them more, nourish them more because they've been nourishing you.
And I think making a list is just so key because then you're able to have that visual of who they are, how they're going to show up for you in your life. You can start to put together how you guys can support one another, how you can help them with their business, their family, their career, praying for them, right? Sometimes you see the list of names and you see a few people that you want to extend good thoughts and prayers to. And when we do that, it gives us a good energy that God wants to always give you more, whatever you're putting into and thinking about. And once you have this list, invite them all together and slowly you're going to start attracting your tribe. This is something Alina's been doing here. It was really important for her to start building this community. And I get to see her and I really love watching you invite your girlfriends over. And now she's starting to, I don't know, it's just becoming bigger. You're going to book clubs now.
Yeah.
And creating your tribe.
Yeah. Book club is a very adult thing for me to be doing, but it's super exciting because I love reading, and again, a way to meet people who also like to read.
Like-minded.
Yeah, and just, it's going to be super fun. We're going tomorrow night. Another thing, yeah, like you've said, just invite them over. I know it can be scary to be the initiator, but a lot of times people are just waiting for an invitation. Most people aren't going to plan the thing themselves. I don't know, just invite people over, plan a charcuterie night, have, a girls' night, get some talking going. One thing that I can recommend that worked really great when I had some girls over for tea, one of them brought like a deck of those like question cards that you can play as a group. They have ones for relationships, they have ones for family. So she brought one for friends. And we were literally sitting around for like 4 or 5 hours talking, and it really got us deeper than we would have gotten just on our own, conversation wise. So that's an idea of something
Share that
you can
link
do.
with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that.
Yeah, totally. I'll send it to you. And another thing is, don't worry if like your house isn't perfect or if not everything is ready by the time people come over. Women bond by working together on things. So I'm sure people would be thrilled to help you put together the charcuterie board or to help clean up afterwards. It breeds a sense of bonding and teamwork when you don't pretend that everything is perfect.
I would rather go to your house and help participate in things exactly what you said than it being perfect. And then I feel not as comfortable. I love that you said that because I know I'm one of those people and many other people are that we wouldn't want to invite people over unless everything's perfect. But that's just not realistic. And that's keeping you away. Exactly.
Yeah.
And sisters don't build walls or obstacles.
Nope, they don't.
And another thing you guys want to do here, like how to really implement sisterhood into your life is You have to be what you want to attract at the end of the day. So maintain your own energy, be aware of your emotional state, and manage your emotions fittingly. And that means fitting it to your future self. So asking yourself things like, how would future Eva handle the situation? So when I'm triggered or when I'm feeling emotions, especially keeping in mind that I want to keep my nervous system regulated and calm, either calm or joyful, right? Excited is good too, but you'd never really want to be fearful, stressed, in the energy of doubt, worry. So by asking myself these questions, I'm able to move through conversations a lot better with people. Because I'm holding a higher frequency for myself, the only things that are circulating in my life are reflecting my energy. So I always have joyful conversations, joyful times with people, opportunities always coming my way because I maintain this. I really just don't have a bad day. And I think that's the number maybe even start there.
Yeah, totally. And just be the sister that you want to be. If you're thinking that, oh, I don't have this person to do this for me in my life, or how come I'm not getting my perfect group of friends yet? Get outside of yourself a little bit and start putting those things out that you're looking for other people. And I promise you, people will be magnetized to you and they'll come to you, and you'll find the people that you truly resonate with because you're giving out what you want to receive.
Yes.
And that's just the way that the world works.
Yes, your sisterhood should feel effortless. It will be aligned. It will just come to you. It will work out. You won't even have to go out there and look for it, really. Just put yourself in the place that are aligned with your energy. You don't even need Bumble for friends or whatever. They'll find you like yours did.
Yeah.
And I'd say last is just having thoughts in your mind like all ships rise with the tides. If you see someone being blessed, sometimes maybe it could bring up feelings of jealousy or comparison, but instead thank God for God being in the neighborhood and for coming your way next. That's my favorite one. Yeah. Whenever someone's blessed, I'm like, ooh, thank you, God, for being in the neighborhood. I always say this too to people.
Oh, that's such a cool
I was like, oh, God's in the neighborhood. Yeah. I'm happy for you. Can't wait for him to come next door.
Yeah,
we're all winning.
That's such a great way of looking at it. God's in the neighborhood. He's
knock,
making
knock.
his rounds. He'll get you next.
Yeah, and then that just leaves us off with something you said before, which is just search to create win-wins.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I think the world wants us to think that it's not a possibility and that you gotta win at the expense of others. That's just not true. You'll win more when you band together with your sisters.
Yeah. I don't want to be at the top all by myself. So leaving off, now we're looking into sisterhood is really, it's beyond friendship, right? This is actually, sisterhood is a group of women coming together, going in the same direction. So they're able to move more powerfully. They share their goals, their desires with each other, their fears, and they help them work through this. It's very powerful energy. But for this, we all need a common mission. So what would you say, Alina, would be, our mission? Let's say for women, we're going to have that. Like, what could be their call to action? This is your mission for everyone. Yeah. And maybe Stellar Cycle's mission.
Yeah. I just wanted to add in a few more things that I wanted to talk about regarding like sisterhood and stuff, just to kind of wrap this all up and like funnel it down. So we just have to remember that it was through the advice of grandmothers, aunts, mothers, sisters, women learned everything that they needed to know about life. Like, that's huge. Like, for example, cooking, right? There's male cooks nowadays, but it was through the amount of time that women had to spend at home that they perfected so many different recipes. I mean, every single time that I cook, I'm like, someone went through the trial and error process to like figure this out. And now I can just pull it up on the internet. And, we talked about the difference between male and female friendships, how we can't really approach our friendships the way that men do because we're just not wired the same way. And I think the reason why the sisterhood is difficult these days, we talked about how a sister doesn't make you feel, but I want to touch on why we have such a difficulty forming the sisterhood these days. I think it's because there's kind of two different viewpoints. There's the feminism, wokeism viewpoint, and then there's like the extreme far right traditional view, and like on one hand, the feminism, the extreme side of it, I'm not talking about human rights or like basic things that we all understand all genders should have, right? But I'm talking more about like the really harmful ideologies that people have started to absorb over the last few years, such as all men are trash, women should be doing everything on their own independently, don't ask for help. A woman should pursue a man, that there's like nothing wrong with the woman being the chaser, in the relationship. And that a woman has to work hard to earn love. Like these have all been lies that have been seeded into women's minds that, again, have been barriers to them forming connections with other women and also finding the love that they seek. On the extreme right wing of things, the values aren't it either, because you have you must always be sexually available for your man no matter what. There's the wife must be seen and not heard. Her purpose and her dreams are on the last place. She's there to just serve the family. So I think what our mission, Eva, boils down to is kind of finding a middle ground, and where women can apply practically what's been lost. I think that it allows us to have an edge in a world where we're constantly reminded that we're inferior. So if we can apply the things that have been lost and all of these connections that women, are supposed to have, I think it'll help us rise up out of the oppression that we feel that we have, which, like, we got to remember, we're not oppressed. We get to, at least in this country, we get rights. We get to live a wonderful life, and we get the opportunity to create a career and have a baby later on. Like science has given us that, and this is why we're doing this, is to help women in our circle, help them apply femininity in applicable and practical ways in their lives so that they can engage in sisterhood, showing each other how to be secure without these ideologies that pit women against each other or pit us against men. Like, who do we have then, for against
pitting you against anyone is not love. It's not God. It's not the move.
Yeah. And I think we just need to be helping our sisters out, showing each other that there's, a great way to live life where you're not battling all of these things. And I'm just rambling now. So.
I mean, definitely yes to all of this. Absolutely. And we are all in this together, and I think when we're going to start to see a big change in our sisterhood coming together is us actually leaning a little bit more into feminine energy. And we'll talk more about that in the future at some point, and you guys will hear us just how you're speaking right now. And us leaning into that feminine energy is us realizing that we are just as strong in areas that people used to say for years were weak or for years weren't good enough. And our power really lies in us not doing everything that a man can and better, even though, we can, just how a man can do everything a woman can. But we don't need to compete. God made a man and a woman for a big reason. We have we're great in different skill sets. Can we do both? Absolutely. But it is really time for us to start embodying and letting in our feminine energy, which is connecting with one another, sharing our heart, feeling our emotions. And I think through that energy is how we're actually going to free ourselves from a lot of the patriarchal,
how do I say, imagined barriers between us, the imagined obstacles. We all put them there ourselves.
So I'm really excited for our future. I'm excited for 2023. I think it's a great year to really be alive for women. We've come so far already. And we're also realizing how much further we have to go. I feel like in the 1990s, even 2000s, maybe we pulled back a little bit because we thought, we can vote. Women are working. The pay gap is starting to get smaller. But now we're realizing there are still so many different inequities, not only in the workplace, but also how we perceive our home life to work life.
Home life has taken absolute last place.
Yeah, and that's not supporting us developing great families. That's supporting women getting further in their career, and absolutely that's very important too. But we do have to start looking at the inequalities where the family unit suffers and seeing how can we have a world where you can have everything. You can have that career and you can still be that mom, and we just have to rethink things. And I always say I don't like to follow how if someone else has a life that I wouldn't want myself, which honestly is pretty much 90% of the world, let's start questioning what beliefs got them to that place, and how can we reconstruct a different belief system for ourselves.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's another reason why sisterhood is so important, is because it would allow you to be a career woman, be a mom and stuff, because you have this network of women willing to help you, willing to watch your kids if, this or that. You're willing,
someone you already trust.
You're willing to trade your skills for that, like it's such a cohesive and just amazing idea, I think, of how to do life. It really does take a village. Right?
It does. And you and I save a lot of time, even just on when you go to the farmer's market and I don't, you pick me up my things, and vice versa. Or if we cook something, we make an extra large batch and we split it, and we're supported, save time. Ugh, I love my life.
Yeah, I think that's also another great way to start being a little more involved in your girlfriends. Like, I know people don't even do this anymore, but like pop by unannounced. If they hate it, they'll let you know.
I always tell you when you always do to me, and I love it. I love unannounced Popeyes.
Yeah. It's like someone was in your neighborhood. They were thinking of you. They want to see you. And again, it doesn't leave much room for that superficial perfection that forms a barrier to connect with someone, that like, oh, everything's perfect. We're just going to have a perfect time. We're going to do this picture perfect, Instagram perfect brunch, and then we're going to go home. You got to be able to call your sister when you're in the middle of a cry, not afterwards. And you're just like, like you gotta have those people in your life that can come to your aid, and you can go to theirs in the moments that matter.
To help people.
It feels good.
I know sometimes we feel like we're burdening other people, but let them tell you that if you are.
Exactly. People do want to feel needed.
Yeah, I love when my friends call me. Because also the conversations too, you leave like feeling hyped. You give them a pep talk that you ended up needing yourself. So this is a lovely episode. I'm really happy that I got to do this with you.
Me too. This really gets me excited for Joshua Tree.
Same.
So we're gonna be putting that together. We are getting even more ideas for it. We were thinking to maybe do more cooking stuff together as women at the Joshua Tree retreat. Kind of learn some Ayurvedic, holistic methods,
nutrient dense foods, and we'll align them with your phases, so you guys can go home with recipes that will align with what phase you're in,
that you can take home and continue that journey. And it'll just be a way to bond with each other, just to work in the kitchen, putting together food. I've always loved doing that with women. It just feels so good.
We'll all do it together.
Yeah. And then
gather our own food.
We're also looking to we're also looking to do like yoga classes, meditations, maybe a couple of coursework, sound healing, that type of stuff. So we're definitely looking into that.
Yeah, I would say if any of you guys are already interested in this vibe, and maybe you have something that you would like to share with other women and you want to create a tribe with us, it'd be great for you guys to reach out on Instagram, Stellar Cycles Pod, and DM us what you would like to gift someone, maybe with your essence or a workshop. It could be short, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, we're totally open to our listeners.
Should we tell them how much we were thinking this would end up costing?
No, because we haven't booked anything yet. We haven't even put down the price. We need to do all of that.
It is all very exciting, though.
Yeah.
And last thing is, I think what might... And last thing would be, I have this feminine energy playlist that I made for myself, and I shared it with some of my girlfriends a while back. This playlist, it's all high positive, feminine energy lyrics that's empowering women. Each song is incredibly different. Basically, I put this out there just so we can find the songs that we personally love and then maybe make our own playlist out of it. But if you guys would like that link, you can DM us for that too. It's
we can put it in the link tree.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. They can get the female vibes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I love a good feminine playlist, just, when you're getting ready or even when you're getting unready, winding down.
There's some wind down songs for meditation, some wind up songs for going out.
Perfect. Yeah. We'll be putting some of these suggestions on a graphic for you guys. And until the next episode, we hope that you guys make some waves in your lives with your sisters. We hope that by the next episode, you will have some new connections that you're excited about, maybe have rekindled some old connections and are just really starting to grow your tribe. And we're excited to see how it all goes.
If you do have any sister hangouts this week, tag us in Instagram, take a picture and share that story. We'd love to show you off.
If you host something at your place or if somewhere else, you know, and you got this idea here, then yeah, totally tag us. We want to see all of it.
Yeah. Oh, my heart. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. This show is intended for inspiration and entertainment and is not meant to replace your physician's medical advice.
Music by Moon Blue.
Editing by Alina and Eva.